Yeah, Rashid Delek. We apologize for the delay. Last few days I have been talking in Kandoling, Chakdukompa, and right now we are in Chakdu Khando's library. So we borrowed this place to make one session of Bodhisattva Charavatara. So I will pick out one name again, and yeah, we will have to find time to talk. Gustavo Santiago. Yeah. Kaje Sergio Rablane Mandara Danlajino Jinda, Dengenuru, Jimbaz, on the Belunum Gainda, Kanjiri Pajero, the Gaveric Bazimba Kaimba, Teta Tamje Tarba Tambegur to be soon in Dirshe. Lada Lamim Miam J. Wambodan, Jajin Lasuchi Chola Chawa Chebanam, Sange Sung Rabab Dushin the Vejur Rogerba. Teta J. Tambechin in Dirshe. Kanda Chujutongi Jigdena, Deji Lomarjurba Khan Suda. Tengdir Tembechuji Charbebji, Nimbardoba, Tamji Dreshe, Namo Layak Daluda Nujinke, Dubumda Nami Janam, Drawagunji Danam Chitambar, Tamjeke do Tage Chutan, do Paltenzavel Lamarumboje, Dage Chivur Pemendijune, Kadijambe Gone Jesunde, Kusung Tuji, Mudup Saldo, Tabge Tuje Shaje Risotron, Shinjim Tubduji Punjamba, Sergi Lumbu Tabrujibigo, Shaje Jabe Shabla Chatal. Chakdon Kolu Jube Jabodon, Jendon Gaba Sambo Sanket, Kanla Gandu Tela Terdemba, Tsumba Cheresela, Chazelo, Seji Jawa Tamjiji, Shipumbo Chikduba, Siji Kunji Pajurwe Jambe on La Chaza, Lo, Kanji Tony Shinji, Ponya Lazo Dawan, Tane Chojir Jeba Doje Chenla Chazalo. Nalendaro Tudam Chitinju Samshin Kalash, Shiwalashi Chawai, Lama Tela Chazalo, Nalendaro Tudam Chitinju Samshin Kalash. Shivalashi Chawai Lama Della Chazolo Nalendaro Tudam Sitinju Samshin Kalashi Shivalashi Chawai Lama Della Chazalo Jejatam Chizibechen Badugunjele Dube to Jeje Samitile Zebe Tomawa Jamgan Lame Jabla Gojansan. So the film Tingmin Kaulama. Lama Jensen de Cheno. Sinlap Tersendani Lama Jambal de Cheno. Chukutal, Nigi Kolo Namsam Kangi Chadanso. Nisem Tachi Tambe Mepa, Tegun Gumbe Suzuji, Yapjing Lashentala, Revamachi, Kalienta. Ninsen Kundu Jamen Kube Samjan Cheji Tujishu, Jungsemenya Munjan Sungi, Rangin Lebese. Tadung Chuny Major Pado, Japshan Solvar Major. So we are studying Bodhisattva Charavatara, and today we will start from the stanza Changjub semde dorduna namba nisu shejate Changjub membe semdani Changjub jugba ni nos. we start learning about the two types of bodhicitta, aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. As Shantideva, he says, in short, there are two types of bodhicitta: aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. So aspiration bodhicitta is aspiration bodhicitta is aspiring to attain the complete liberation for the sake of all sentient beings. Aspiration bodhicitta is aspiring to practice the path for the sake of all sentient beings, for the sake of the liberation of all sentient beings. This is aspiration, aspiring. Application bodhicitta is not only aspiring to practice, not only aspiring, not only praying, not only wishing, but actually sort of being generous, actually keeping discipline, actually being patient, actually being diligent, so on and so forth. So there is this type of differences in the meaning of these two types of bodhicitta: aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. So at a glance, aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta will be introduced very differently, and so in the Mahayana lineage we have two lineages of bodhicitta. The one that comes from the Chittamatra masters and the one that comes from Manjushri to Nagarjuna, Manjushri to Shantideva, and so the Madhyamaka masters. One that comes from Chittamatra masters, we say it is from Maitreya to Asanga, Asanga to Vasubandhu, and so on and so forth. So that one, it is very clear in that lineage that aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta, they are very different. So traditionally, one takes aspiration bodhicitta first, and then study, contemplate, and meditate. Mainly practice on the aspirational aspects of bodhicitta, and only when the practitioner is sure that now I can truly sort of apply myself to the practice of bodhisattva, then the practitioner takes the application bodhicitta. So this is how it's done in the Chittamatra sort of tradition. Here in the Madhyamaka tradition, aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta is taken together. Not only it is taken together, aspiration bodhicitta, sort of the nature of the aspiration bodhicitta has the same nature of application bodhicitta, and nature of application bodhicitta has the same nature of the aspiration bodhicitta. So for example, one phenomena explained from two different angles with two different characteristics. So in that sense, aspiration bodhicitta is application bodhicitta. So application bodhicitta is actually practicing the path now and aspiring to become enlightened for the sake of others is actually practicing the path. So like that. And application bodhicitta too, it can never it cannot exist without the mind to liberate others, without the wish or aspiration or motivation to liberate others. Yes, so it also is aspiration bodhicitta. So like this, in Khenpo Kumpal's commentary you might find some variations, and then he at the end he kind of gets to the point that aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta sort of may have the same nature but are explained through their different sort of characteristics, as aspects. Which is why here here there is a debate whether this really is aspiration bodhicitta or just aspiring for Buddhahood. There is a difference. Aspiration bodhicitta is not just aspiring for Buddhahood for the sake of others, but actually making a decision, right? You have to take a vow. You can just aspire like, oh, how nice would it be if I could become enlightened for the sake of others. Now this is aspiring for bodhicitta, for Buddhahood, but it's not aspiration bodhicitta, because you have not taken the vow, you have not taken the decision. It is a very sort of good wish or good sort of will. So here when he explains aspiration, he explains the difference between the two bodhicitta. The later Sakyapa masters like Gorampa says, when here it is, he's not really giving the differences between aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. Rather, he's giving the differences between aspiring and applying, aspiring for Buddhahood and actually now applying the path for Buddhahood. So in that sense, you see this difference? I understand that I'm not expressing myself very clearly, so please, if you're confused or there are questions, please ask, and use the Facebook page that we have to ask these questions. There is a whole sort of debate here, because if we really say here he is showing the differences between aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta, then we have a problem, because here Shantideva clearly states the sort of states that aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta are very different, very separate, two different entities. Especially later when he says aspiration bodhicitta will have great merit but not as much as application bodhicitta. So then it's very clear. And this is also one argument Gorampa gives, that here when he says aspiration for Buddhahood, aspirational mind for Buddhahood, he doesn't really mean aspiration bodhicitta. He only means aspiring for Buddhahood. Okay, let me just go through it first. Drawer the drawer chetar jitar shepater teshin kepi dini chetar rimchin sheparcha. So the next stanza. I do not have the English copy here with me, so I don't know which is the stanza number. We will put it when we will sort of share the video on Facebook. Below we will give you the stanza number from where we are starting. Okay. So what is the difference between aspiring for Buddhahood and actually applying the path for Buddhahood? And it says just like someone wishing to go somewhere and someone actually going there. So he says there is a difference. Similar difference will be seen here. Here too, the first one, just aspiring for Buddhahood for the sake of others, is just sort of wishing to go somewhere, but you have not started the journey. So this is one argument given by Gorampa too, that look, when you take aspiration bodhicitta, you have already started the journey. It's not that you're just aspiring. But here Shantideva says, what is it? That here Shantideva says that the aspiration bodhi aspiration bodhicitta is just aspiring for going, sort of Buddhahood. You have not yet entered the path. You're just aspiring for it, right? So here, when he is saying Changchup Membe Sem, sort of, here he is not referring to actual aspiration bodhicitta, but just aspiring for Buddhahood. Anyway, let's go on. And so the Sakyapas make this difference: aspiring for Buddhahood, aspiration bodhicitta, and the practice of aspiration bodhicitta. They say the aspiration bodhicitta can be divided into these three. So the first one is not really aspiration bodhicitta, it's just aspiring for bodhicitta, but it can be named aspiration bodhicitta because it is what gives birth to aspiration bodhicitta. And that makes sense, because before you take aspiration bodhicitta, you must have the aspiration to become Buddha. When you have aspiration to become Buddha, then you take the bodhicitta, right? So aspiration bodhicitta is basically this, you still have the same aspiration to become Buddha for the sake of others, but now you take a vow. So when you have taken a vow, aspiration, this aspiration to become Buddha for the sake of others becomes an aspiration bodhicitta. When you have not taken a vow, before taking a vow, it is just aspiring to become Buddha for the sake of others. Do you see the difference here? Yes. Once you have taken the vow, that is application bodhicitta and that is aspiration bodhicitta. I think this is what Longchen Rabjam sort of explained, and Sakyapa Masters also explained it like this too. Yes, and many Indian masters too, that application bodhicitta and aspiration bodhicitta are just same phenomena. But then what is this here in Shantideva? Here Shantideva explains aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta to be very different. Then they say, oh, when Shantideva here is actually talking just about the aspiration to become Buddha, difference between aspiration to become Buddha and actually applying the path to become Buddha. So actually applying the path to become Buddha is bodhicitta, is application bodhicitta, is aspiration bodhicitta. But just aspiring to become Buddha is not application bodhicitta, neither aspiration bodhicitta. And reason comes again. For example, the next stanza, 장줍면 베셈네니 코르세 드부 체중양 장줍 juk besemshindu sonam junchak chungwa means. So what is the main reason that Sakyapas and Nyingmapa masters and many Indian masters say, when Shantideva says aspiration bodhicitta here, he does not really mean aspiration bodhicitta, but he just means an aspiration to become Buddha for the sake of others. Why is it so? They say because this is what he said. He said, from the aspiration mind, from the aspiration from the mind that aspires to become Buddha, he says, from the mind that aspires to become Buddha, in samsara there will be a big result, he said. You will get a really good result, but only in samsara. So this is one of the arguments the masters use. Look, Shantideva is saying that from this aspiration mind, you will get result, but only in samsara. If it really is aspiration bodhicitta, it really goes against the teaching of it, because aspiration bodhicitta will give result not only in samsara, but it also gives the result of nirvana, right? Buddhahood, because it is bodhicitta. So bodhicitta results in Buddhahood. But here he is saying, from in this stanza, that the aspirational mind gives result, but only in samsara. If you are just a practitioner who doesn't need to be concerned with these sort of differences, then maybe it is okay. But since we are trying to become scholars of this text, right? We are trying to learn this, contemplate and practice on this, then it is good to know that here when he says from aspiration bodhicitta there will be result, but only in samsara. And I don't know how other translations people have translated. Today I don't have it, so that's my mistake, I apologize. But it is not really aspiration bodhicitta. If it is aspiration bodhicitta, then Shantideva will be going against the teaching of Buddha, where Buddha tells the king, for example, in his advice to the king who has no time to practice, then Buddha said, well, that may be true that you have no time to, you are very busy with your family, with your kingdom, with your ministers and courts. But if you aspire for Buddhahood day and night, as much as possible, you will become enlightened and you will keep your samsaric responsibilities too. So this will go against that directly. If here we take it just as it is and thinking that, oh, from aspiration bodhicitta there will be result, but only in samsara, it will give huge result, good results, but only in samsara, and it will not give a continuous result that continues sort of forever, just like application bodhicitta. Aspiration bodhicitta will give result, but only samsaric result, and it will not continue, he says. On the other hand, application bodhicitta will give result, great result, and it will continue forever. So application bodhicitta will not have a continuous result. This is again against the teaching of Buddha, where Buddha says, when one wishes for the liberation of all sentient beings, since the number of sentient beings is incalculable, it's like an ocean where you cannot count, you cannot measure the ocean with the drops, right, for example. And then it is like putting one drop of water into the ocean. So this one drop of water will now last sort of forever. As long as the ocean lasts, the water lasts. Similarly, the merit of bodhicitta is like that, and it will last as long as sentient being is there, as long as sort of benefit of being is happening. So that again goes again this. So here we are not talking about the differences between aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta actually, even though that is also explained here, that bodhicitta, there are two types, application bodhicitta and aspiration bodhicitta. Yes, but when the differences are taught, especially the difference in result and difference in qualities, then we have to be careful not to mix it with actual aspiration bodhicitta. Here he just means aspiring for Buddhahood. Yes. So when you just aspire for Buddhahood, you will get grand results, but only in samsara, and it will not be continuous like application bodhicitta, he says. Then how the next stanza, Kang zung de semchin kam tai rab to dalwe chir midok bai sem jisu sem de yangdak lang jurba dene zung de ni lokam pa me jurchang sonam shuk jun micheba tumashik namkha nyamba rab to chung dini tepa tangche par laksang chi ne jupa le memme semchin tönji chir dejin shek ba ni ji songs. So then, how does the merit of application bodhicitta continues? Here he says, it continues like this. From the moment you have taken this bodhicitta, that with a strong determination, when you take bodhicitta in order to liberate boundless, countless, numberless sentient beings, from that moment on, whether you fall asleep or whether you get distracted and you get involved in all kind of samsaric and spiritual activities, the stream, the strength of your merit will, uninterruptedly grow as sort of vast as the space. So basically meaning, once you take bodhicitta, then whether you fall asleep, whether whatever you do, as long as you do not go against the vow of bodhicitta, your merit will grow more and more and more. Because of course, the after taking the bodhicitta, if you live 1 minute longer, you have the merit of keeping the bodhicitta for 1 minute more. If you live 1 hour longer, you have the merit of keeping the bodhicitta for 1 hour longer, like that. 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, the merit will keep on going as long until and unless you do something that goes against the vow of bodhicitta. Especially here, if you do the root downfall, which is letting go of sentient beings, or when you become indifferent to their suffering, to their samsaric existence, then bodhicitta will be cut off. But until then, you could even get angry, you could even be sort of very much under the influence of desire or whatever. The vow of bodhicitta, the merit will keep on growing. But when you get distracted, when you do those other things, of course you will also accumulate negative karma. That is a separate issue. But the merit of bodhicitta will keep on growing. This is what he's saying. So this aspect, the sort of boundless merit of bodhicitta, uninterrupted continuity of the merit of bodhisattva is taught with a lot of reasoning in a sutra, he says. For in order to benefit those who prefer a lower path, a very narrow path that only benefits themselves. So in order to sort of show them the benefit, the quality of bodhicitta, the Tathagata have taught in a sutra that the merit of bodhisattva will keep on growing. So it goes like this. For example, if I want to benefit one person, so I have the merit of benefiting one person, or wanting to benefit one person. So this is very finite. If I want to benefit 100%, however great the merit will be, now this I'm trying to make the sort of meaning of the sutra a little bit chewable for us, right? Like in the sutra, Buddha goes on and on why the merit of bodhisattva can never exhaust, and the reason is like this. So if I benefit 100%, if I want to benefit 100 people, the merit will be immense, yet it will be finite, because I only want, there is a number to the sort of field of my merit, to the object I want to benefit. There is a number, there is from 1 to 100. But Buddha says, when you want to benefit all sentient beings, that has no measurement, like there is no measurement to measure all sentient beings. So then similarly, how can there be a measurement to your merit? That. So in the sutra, in order to sort of change the mind of some people who were thinking, maybe I should sort of choose another path, maybe I should go on a path that sort of liberate myself, and that may be faster and more effective, so, and to sort of inspire them on the path to Buddhahood, on the path of bodhicitta. Buddha sort of taught this. So that's what it means here. Sorry if I'm reading a little bit fast today, because I worry a little bit. If we are too slow, some people get bored and then they may not study. This is also we have to go a very long way, and if we start getting bored from now on, that's not good. And I don't want it to be something from my side that I only do like 5 or 6 stanzas per session, and we have 1,000 stanzas to cover in this text alone. And especially the 9th chapter is not going to be easy, and it'll be very difficult to go fast in that chapter. So right now we're at a relatively quite easy topic. We're just talking about the benefit, the quality of bodhicitta, right? So I thought we could rush a little bit, but I apologize if it's too fast. Next stanza, he gives an sort of example here. And in a way, he is sort of saying the same thing. Why application bodhicitta, or why bodhicitta must have immense merit, like incalculable number of merit or continuous merit, uninterrupted merit, is the reason that I just gave is very similar here. Semchen namchi lene tsam salo nyam to samna yang pendok samba thangden te sonam pame denjurna. Semchen rere medewa pak to meba saldo ching rere yang yonten pame to dubar mechi goes. So these two stanzas here. He says, if just by wishing strong headache, or not just headache, actually it's more like a strong pain in the head. So the story goes that someone was drilled. There was a big wheel sort of drilling into someone's head. So of course the pain originates in the head, right? So I'm afraid sometimes it is translated as headache, but it's not a headache actually. It's a very intense pain in someone's head. So anyway, just by wishing to remove that, may all sentient beings be free from all intense sort of pain in their head, whatever intense pain that they may have in their head, may it all be sort of removed. If just thinking that will give immense sort of incalculable merit, he said, imagine, how much merit it will be if someone wants to sort of remove all kind of pain, all kind of suffering from sort of the mind stream or body of all sentient beings, Not only that, when someone wishes to sort of wishes to sort of grant immense quality, immense sort of benefit to all sentient beings. He says, what need is there to say that the benefit will be immense and sort of it will uninterruptedly grow, because the number of sentient beings is incalculable. So the merit has to be incalculable, and you can say it will keep on growing actually. So here there is a story traditionally, and I'm aware that this is a story that lamas use a lot, and I'm sure you know this story too, but here just to be covering the subject. And also it is a blessed story. It is one of the Buddha's previous lives. So it's a story about a merchant, a sailor actually, sea captain actually, and him and his wife, they tried to have a son for a long time, but they had many sons, and all of them die as soon as they're born. So then one time when they have a son again, they go to an astrologer and says, what should we do? The astrologer says, well, if the astrologer says you have obstacle of having sons, so if you want to keep this son alive, you have to give him a name. You have to call him girl, my daughter. So this becomes his name. Girl becomes his name of the son. So, just go with it, okay? So girl becomes his name. So girl grows up, but unfortunately his father dies at a very early age. So the girl has no memory of his father. And as he grows up, his mother, fearing that if girl knows what his father used to do, girl will also try to become a captain and go into the sea, and also die like his father in the sea. So his mother kept it a secret. She never told him what his occupation was, like family occupation was. So as girl grow up, he started to sell incense. So and every day when he sort of come back from the market after selling incenses, he give the money to his mother. So like he make offering of money to his mother. So the first day he go to sell incense, he gets a very small sort of profit, and he gives the profit to his mother. He comes back home and he gives the profit to his mother. Next day he goes to sort of sell incense, and he gets more profit. Then he gives it to his mother again, like this. So every day he goes to sell incense, and he becomes more and more successful. Now the other incense makers, incense sellers, start getting worried that this guy is going to take our job. So in order to get rid of him, they tell him the truth about his father, saying, oh, why would a son of a great sea captain become an incense seller? This is a disgrace to your family. You should be going out in this ocean. You should be sort of going out on adventures. You should be looking for precious stones in all kind of continents and islands. You shouldn't be here doing this. So he realized, he sort of starts believing them, and he goes to his mother and asks her, and she says, yes, that's true. I do not wanted you to die in the ocean like your father, so I kept it a secret from you. There he makes a decision that he will do what his father used to do, and he will not do he will not become a ordinary incense seller, but he will become a great captain. And it is said that he started accumulating crew members, and he started asking people who wants to go with him, and then they sort of start growing in number. And he actually manages to get a ship and everything ready. On the day of his departure, his mother really begs, and she hold his feet in order to not to, and saying, I will not let you go, I will not let you die. And he gets for a moment he gets angry, and he sort of kicks her, and as the mother was holding his feet, it hits on her head, so he has this now negative karma of hitting his mother, kicking his mother on the head with anger. Yes, so he says, I am going on the most important mission of my life. This is like this should be in such a auspicious venture, and you are making it inauspicious by crying and asking me not to go, and so on. So he kicks his mother and he leaves on his journey. So they get a lot of success. They go to this island, that continent, so on and so forth. But on the way back, their ship get destroyed in the ocean. I think by a sea creature or something, and everybody dies except him. So he sort of manages to hold on to a big wooden plank and gets he starts drifting towards an island. So he reaches an island and starts looking for human sort of settlement here and there, and on that island, the first place he manages to find is a beautiful palace, and he goes into this palace, and there are two beautiful girls waiting, just sitting there and waiting for him. And he starts asking, who are you, what are you doing? He says, no, we are here for you, we are waiting for you. And they sort of offers themselves to him, and they had a very good time. He spends, I think in the text it says 200 years with them, and that was because on the first day when he went to sell incense, he offered 200 coins to his mother, I think, and that was the merit. Now he enjoys 200 sort of heavenly realm. But throughout, the girl keeps saying, please don't go to like this one direction, I think like to north or something, like, please don't go to that direction, you do whatever you want, but don't go to that direction. After 200 years, he gets very curious, and he thinks, what is there in that direction? They never tell him. So one day he just sets off in that direction, and he finds even a bigger palace, even a bigger place, bigger garden, bigger everything, with 4 beautiful girls, more prettier than the 2 before. And there's the same story. He asks them, who are you, what are you doing? They say, oh, we are goddesses, we're waiting for you, this is your place, please take your rightful seat, and we are here to serve you. So he enjoys heavenly sort of pleasures with these 4 goddesses for 400 years. So this was the merit of him offering 400 coins, karshapanas, to his mother on the second day of his business, selling incense. So like this, and this keeps on going on. He spends 400 years with them, but the woman keeps saying, please don't go to that one direction, you do whatever you want, but don't go there. Again he thinks, oh, before they told me don't go there, and when I actually went there, I met these 4 beautiful goddesses, and I'm enjoying like this, maybe there's more. So one day, after 400 years, he just decides to leave, and he goes. So now the story goes on. Then he meets another palace, and with 8 goddesses waiting, and spends 800 years. So this was this merit of offering 800 Karshapana coins to his mother, like this. And this goes on, and I think there were like 16 goddesses or 32 goddesses or something like that, when again he's enjoying, and they keep saying, please do whatever you want, but don't go to that direction. By this time he doesn't believe, and he still goes, and then finally, suddenly, he finds himself in a very, very sort of depressing place. Nothing seemed to grow there, and there was nothing else but a white house. He saw one house there, and curiosity sort of takes over him, and even though it was very scary and sort of there was nothing of interest there, rather than going back to those goddesses, he keeps going forward, and he enters the house. And inside, when he goes into that big house, he hears the cry of somebody. Someone is really crying. So he looks for who is crying, and he finds a person with a giant iron wheel sort of revolving on his head, and the sort of wheel is revolving, and from the middle of the wheel is an iron spoke that is sort of going into that person's head and churning the brain, and the person, still not dead, is sort of crying out in pain. So then there is this dialogue between him and the person. The person says, "Oh, you stupid, why didn't you listen to those goddesses? Why did you had to keep walking and walking? This is, and he says, yes, this must be my karma. I just had to find out what was there, and now I am here." And then he asks, "Why do you suffer like this anyway?" And he says, "Yes, I was also like you before, and I made offerings to my mother, and I sort of served her well, and I also went through all those goddesses, and at the end one day I also sort of mistreated her. I hit her on her head, and the sort of result of that karma is this, and I have been here for hundreds of years," he says. When the captain, who is called Girl, hears that, an immense compassion sort of arose in him, and he thought, "It's not just me, it seems. There are many beings in this world who have mistreated their parents and who have done this. There are especially those who hit their mother out of anger. Now I am here. This person have done the same thing, and this person have suffered for such a long time in this way. Now karma had brought me here too, so surely I will also suffer like this. But may others don't suffer. May I take all of their negative karma of hitting their mother on the head." It's just a very specific one karma, actually, hitting their mother on the head out of anger upon myself. And may none of them experience such intense pain in their head. So that's very sort of exclusive suffering, right? It's not just headache, And as soon as he said that, there was a voice in the atmosphere that says, "May the one who is suffering be freed, may the one who is free suffer." So immediately the iron wheel sort of jumped up in the space and landed on his head. But because of him experiencing this intense pain, his compassion grew even more, and thought, "This is unbearable. How can other beings bear this? May it all sort of come upon me. May this suffering be enough for their karma." So this great compassion removed his negative karma of hitting his mother on the head, and immediately he dies. And he is born in a celestial realm. So this is the story, that just by wishing to, he's not really doing anything, he's just wishing, but just by wishing out of compassion, that may all sentient beings sort of very specific pain, like severe pain in the head, fall upon me. May my pain be enough. He was freed from hell realm. It was a hell realm, one of the smaller hell realms, but nevertheless hell realm. We call it Nitsewa. Nitsewa is ephemeral hell realm. Yeah, that's called ephemeral hell realm. Yes. So that's the story. Next stanza. 파 미야나 마야로 술라 딘데 펜세미 라다 장손 남자로 창발라야 디유탐. He says, who has such a altruistic mind as like bodhisattvas? Who else have this? Parents, for example, father and mother, do they have such great aspirations for their children? No. Parents, they want their children to live long. They want their children to have good life, good education, wealth, health, but they don't necessarily want their children to be free from samsara. They don't necessarily want their children to become completely enlightened and completely free from all suffering. He says, even parents don't have that such a beneficial mind. Even parents don't have. Neither deities have, neither the sort of sages have such a beneficial mind. Nor does Brahma have this. So in this world, these are the respectable ones, these are the venerable, these are the ones who usually wish to benefit us, right? Our parents, our teachers, our deities, or Brahma. If you are confused, usually it is said that the Brahma usually meditates, may all beings be free, the four immeasurables. Brahma is supposed to be meditating on that, four immeasurables. May all beings be free from suffering and the cause of suffering, and so on and so forth. But even Brahma doesn't have that, he says. Next stanza. Semchen teda nila ngun rangi tuendo didresem. Milam tuya mamina shenji tuendo kalache. Shenda rangi tuendo ya mijung semchen tuensem kan semchi rinchen kepar di ngana mebe magic chung song. So, semchen teda nila ngun. These sentient beings, till now, have never had such aspiration, have never had such mind that wishes liberation for all sentient beings. They never had that, even in their dreams, he says. Milam tuya maminas. For themselves, they never had this aspiration to become completely enlightened, completely free, even for themselves, even in their dreams. How will they wish such a state of Buddhahood for others, he said. So these people, when they cannot even wish Buddhahood for themselves, how can they wish Buddhahood for other sentient beings? So, such a precious mind, such a precious bodhicitta with so many qualities it is indeed marvelous that it is born within us, that it was not there before. We were also just like these people, and for some reason, for some marvelous, inexplicable reason, we have bodhicitta now. And how wonderful is that, he says. Okay, we will stop here. Thank you so much. And as I always say, please try to go through them, try to read them, contemplate them. And if you find, of course, if you can, read the root text again and again until you really memorize them. If you cannot, pick up at least few verses, few stanzas that stands out for you, that carries specific meaning for you, or that inspires you, and try to recite them and try to sort of instill their meaning in your life. Thank you. May I, in all my lifetimes, carry far the weight of Buddha Dharma, and if for some reason I am not capable to do so, may I always be worried about the longevity of Dharma.